Hello, everybody. We're going to talk about AIs in mods for games today. Now, I've done AIs for MechWarrior, for Darkrin, and a bunch of other games, including Supreme Commander, and I'm quite good at it. Right now, I always thought it in two forms, right? Two levels to it: gathering information and then using the information gathered. You didn't need to cheat. None of my AIs cheated. The most common response to finding out that someone just got their ass handed to them by one of my bots was for me to be flamed by that player. Because all the players usually have this, oh, I'm elite, I'm good. And then the bot kicked their asses because it was pre-scripted to respond to that type of player. And they'd always think, I'm not that predictable. Oh, yes, you are. I could just write an anti-Russia AI and defeat 70-80% of players in a strategy game, for example. But my AIs are a bit smarter than that. I might have started out doing simple AIs like that, but I moved on quite quickly to, you know, different AIs I could think. And they started out by gathering information. In Supreme Commander, my eyes gather information by building a couple of scouts. It's a simple thing. Build a couple of scouts, fly them around the map, remember what you see. Am I on water? Yes, well, don't build land units. Am I on an island? Well, build air units. That kind of thing. Where's the enemy base? Attack that spot. Whereas the AI that came with the game was the players are here and the AI's there, attack that spot. It was granted magic information about where your base would be, and then it attacked that spot. So my AI moved 3 feet to the left. The AI would come down, or the player would come down, there'd be nothing there. It'd be, where the hell's his base gone? And it'd throw it out completely. Meanwhile, my AI would know exactly where he was because he'd just scouted out the map and found him. He'd know the strategies he was using. He'd know where he was attacking from, whether it was on water, what kind of units it needed to build. So it won most of the time. That was how. In MechWarrior, I did something similar again. My bots, asked, have I been hit? How much damage is being caused? Who's shooting at me? Has that player killed many players in the game? And depending on the answers, it would respond differently. It would know if it's taking a load of damage to back off, right, and come at it again. It'd know it could charge in if it wanted to. You could put random factors in there that made it either go attack or withdraw, depending on how dangerous it was. Did it carry? So, what kind of mech am I? Am I a long range mech or a web mech or a melee mech? If I'm a long range one, then keep my distance, fire from range. If I'm a melee mech, close in. Right? And this one bot could work out what strategy to use from one AI file. It didn't need separate AI files. It could work it all out. Its skill level was preset. So, although even that too could be modified, I could make it more accurate with the more kills it got. So as the game went on, it became more deadly. That would have been a fairly simple step forward. So you get the idea. Gather information, use information. It's all about keeping the information that you collected. At least until it dies, then you reset it and start again. So the whole thing, it boils down to what did the AI actually see? Not what magical information was given to it, what magical resources are given to it. It just learned as it went. Now, if we go to, say, Skyrim now, and we talk about companion AIs, I'm going to throw this out there for you because you're going to find this interesting, right? When you've got a companion AI and you've just gone to Solitude and it's seen the alchemy shop, little script says this AI's been to, this NPC's been to Solitude. It should know about the shops in Solitude now. So it starts losing health. And they are, the companion channel says, "Hey, Mr. Player, yeah, I'm taking damage here. I need some potions. I'm just going to scoot off to Solitude and get some, right, because I've ran out. So I'll see you in a couple of days." Off it runs to Solitude, comes back with a bucket load of potions, says to the player, "Yeah, you got the potions, you have one." Right, and off they go again, adventuring. You go to a dungeon, where there's lots of loot, and it's there's lots of loot in there and you know it respawns. So you put it down. This dungeon has lots of loot. When the player's walking around aimlessly around the map, the AI could say, why did we go and raid that dungeon down so-and-so? There's always lots of loot in there. So it talked about what it's found in the game. It's responding to its environment. Its environment is actually something it's learning from. Now, obviously, with so many locations in Skyrim, that would be a big script, which is why you need to have support from the hardware, support from the commands. The commands need to support this. If you were to manually write down the raw routines needed to do all this, it'd be a long script. If you had a command that said list the locations of dungeons near my location and pick the one with the most loot in it, then report back to the player, then you've got one command that does the job of an entire section, entire function library. And that's how it needs to be. It reduces the chance of errors in a script, which reduces the chance of the AI going loopy. Right? So you need to keep the chance of error down by having the support built into the command set. So you get the support built into the command set, you can do anything. You could say, like the AI goes, I don't know anything about Eastmarch. Why don't we go to Eastmarch and have a look around? Then you go to Eastmarch. Second it enters Eastmarch, it suddenly knows where Eastmarch is. From now on, someone said, let's go to Eastmarch, it knows how to get there. Right? Instead of being taken there by the player, it knows how to get there. Then it goes into Morphall. It now knows where Morphall is. It could walk to Morphall and back if you tell it to do it. It wouldn't need to follow anybody. You could go wait for me in Morphall. It'd trot off to Morphall. Wouldn't be cheating. It would have learnt that from there it's exploring with the player. And it goes on and on like that. You might find like Morphall is an area full of necromancers. And he'd say to the player, I hate necromancers, right? They're always digging up graves. Let's go and teach them a lesson. Let's go to Morphall. And the dialogue is determined by the fact that it knows there's lots of necromancers in Morphall. Because I fancy going down to Riften, where we can kill some dragons. Because lots of dragons near Riften, and they're not even hiding. They're in plain sight. They deserve to die. Let's go and kill a dragon. Because it's been to Riften, it's seen the dragons. Suddenly have a much more interactive companion, one that's capable of responding to the game. Now you could choose what you want to do, what things you want to prioritise, but you do need the support for learning what's actually in the game before you can use it. You could write a script to do it, but it wouldn't be ideal and it would lead to lots of errors. But once you've got the learning down, you've decided what the important information is, like where to get potions from, where you can go for a drink, where you can sleep, where the best loot's found, where the dangerous enemies are, where to avoid. Like you could register that you're approaching an area that's known to be a home of, say, the enemy, say, Stormcloaks. And you could say, listen, we're the Stormcloak camp just over the hill. Let's go in this direction. So as you get close to the Stormcloaks, your companion warns you you're about to enter an enemy camp. And that kind of thing. Suddenly you've got a much smarter AI because it's gathered the information or it's learnt it through various sources. In this case, it could learn where they are by simply entering any room that had a Civil War map in it. So you could say, is there a Civil War map in this room? Yes, now I know where all the camps are. You see? You could use the same information to learn who the Jarl was, or the Jarl was, and things like that. Literally a little function code that says, every time you enter a room, run down this list. Is there a Jarl here? Is there a map here? Is there food here? Is there potions here? Is there this here? Is there a fire here? And then just store the information along with the location, But that needs to be supported. It needs to be supported. Once you've got that support in the game, though, there's all kinds of things you could do. You could even have a smart horse using similar code, that knows to run away and know where you've been or where you're going to, or know where it could heal. You might even run to the nearest plains and have a munch on some grass before coming back to you when it's had a bit of, had something to eat. All kinds of things. It opens up a game. If you had a small army of bandits, now this is an interesting one, and the bandit leader, everybody followed the bandit leader. I mean, you'd wonder how I got all my characters, like say in the NCR mod, to follow each other. is because each one had a package that said, right, you follow 50 behind the player, you follow 100, you follow 150, you follow 200. That way the player, when he dies, the game's over anyway. So if you had them following each other by 50, and one dies, the rest of them would be stuck next to the body. But if you did the bandits in a very similar way, or an army of stormcloaks, and you had the leader given the intelligence to make decisions, second that leader's dead, they lose their. They don't know what to do anymore. You literally chop their head off of the unit, and now they're lost, which is a bit more realistic. Or you could assign it to the next guy. Is the leader dead? Then I'm the leader. That kind of thing, right? But anyway, if the leader patrolling around, not based on patrol points, but based on where he knows the enemy's been before. So you could have I'm in East March, you have six enemy patrols patrolling East March, and they know that you've been to certain locations. So you might go to that location to see if you're still there, and then go to another one nearby that you haven't been to yet because it knows that's the next logical target. It would literally be a roving patrol that was unpredictable, and all of them looking for enemies. So the AIs can be quite smart. There's a lot of options, even in Skyrim, but you do need to have that twofold. Gather information, use the information. The information gathered needs to be stored somewhere. In the past, AIs have been limited because they used a lot of CPU time. But we've got a massively powerful CPUs now. That's not a problem anymore. A lot of memory, far more memory than most games use, so that's not a problem anymore. Massive hard drives now, so that's not a problem anymore. There's no reasons why this couldn't be the era where AIs in games started to come into their own. And I think, right, that now Bethesda working with Microsoft, maybe now's a good time for them to explore that in their future games. Yeah, see you in the next one.